Yes, what's up, guys? Here from the chest. My name is Justin Groth, and welcome to another episode. Guys, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Happy Father's Day to, first and foremost, my dad. Happy Father's Day to, just do a few shout outs right here. Ramon, my buddy Ramon, my boy Dave. Their dads. Basically all my guy friends, because they're all dads. I'm just the misfit out of all of them, pretty much. I'm late to the game, man. I hadn't even started. But happy Father's Day to all you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your day with your families. I hope you're barbecuing. I hope you're getting filled with love and just gratitude for the things that you do for your family, because you guys are very, very important when it comes to the entirety of holding a family together. But anyways, happy Father's Day. Guys, if you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you and I want to thank you for your time that you're about to give me. And for those of you who are old and been with me for a long time, thank you to you too. I am very, very super appreciative of all your time and just the fact that you continuously tune in with me and or listen to me on or watch me on YouTube or listen to me on Apple. I'm just very, or Stitcher or Spotify or whatever platform you fancy the most. But I'm very, very appreciative of you guys. So thank you again. I was listening to, I'm a fan of rap, and I'm a fan of rap when it comes to, and I know some of you are not, but I'm a fan of rap because when I train or when I drive, I like listening to things that, I don't know, for some reason, I've always been into rap, and especially when I drive or when I am training. I guess I want to feel cool when I drive, so I listen to rap, and I guess that when I train, that's the only thing that really pumps me up, man. I don't know, I've never really been into metal, never been into punk rock, well, actually, when I was younger, I was into punk rock, like Green Day and all that. That's kind of like wussy punk rock, though. That's kind of, But anyways, I was into that, way back when, like in 7th grade. But anyways, I'm into rap. Like, I love rap. And I call it rap. I don't call it hip-hop. I'm old. That's probably why I call it rap and not hip-hop. But I understand for all you teens and tweens and all that, you guys call it hip-hop. I get it. To me, it's rap. So anyways, I listened to this one guy. You're probably familiar with him. His name's 2 Chainz. And I haven't really, I listen to Pandora a lot, so I'll click on a station where it's 21 Savage or 2 Chainz, and I just let it ride, like all the songs, right? And so one of the songs that I listened to it was from 2 Chainz, and it's called Dresser. And you're probably not familiar with it because it's one of those, it's not really a mainstream song. It's not really one of his mainstream songs or popular songs. But anyways, it's called Dresser. Just Dresser, that's it. And in that song, there's a lyric that sits and resonates with me like no other. And it's probably because this lyric is something that I've told myself over and over and over again. And the lyric is this: I used to have to argue with my landlord. That's it. I used to have to argue with my landlord. And that lyric, I probably listened to that song like 12 times before that part stuck out at me. Because I'm more of like a beat guy, But I'll sometimes listen to lyrics, but not all the time. I'm more of like the beat. But that lyric, that penetrated me immensely, because he's kind of giving us an insight in what he's been through, things of his past that clearly are not what the present are, because now he's got money from his musician career, etc. Like, he can buy a mansion now if he wants, and he has all the kind of cars that he wants and all that. That's not what I'm after. That's not what I'm trying to get at here, is let's develop wealth here. Let's just develop wealth. I'm trying to clarify the fact that he said he used to And that's very important to note and to understand and to actually realize and identify in your own life. Everything that you think is going to happen or you want to happen, it can happen. But you have to understand that the used to process is imperative to the supposed to process, or the supposed to outcome rather. Your supposed to outcome has to be has to be preset by a used to process, or else this supposed to is never going to come to manifest. It was important that he went through the arguing with his landlord over probably the rent check or the rent for the month. He probably couldn't make it. That's why he's arguing with the landlord. I doubt he's arguing with the landlord based on, hey man, I need you to come fix my heater, and the landlord's not fixing the heater. I doubt it's that. It's probably the monthly rent that he didn't pay, and he's arguing with his landlord about it. And that is something that is not obviously a problem to him anymore. And he goes on to say other things, and you can listen to the song if you'd like, but the highlight of that song for me is the fact that he said, I used to argue with my landlord. And you know how you say you word parts of the song that you know? Well, I know like the entire song, but when that part comes on, I yell that part, because that part penetrates my heart like none other part in that entire song. That part is the most meaningful part. I used to have to argue with my landlord. I actually am in the process of still arguing with my old landlord. I used to have to argue with my landlord. I remember telling myself this, telling my mom the fact that whatever's going on with my landlord we got a whole other story behind that, but my old landlord rather. But that particular situation, I always knew it was never going to be forever. There's going to be a time I'm not going to have a landlord. I'm not going to have somebody looking down on what I'm doing with the property or with how I'm paying, or this is what you need to be this, and you can't deviate. There's no grace period, because that's how my landlord was. There was no grace period, nothing. Pay on this date, rent, late fee if you don't. You know what I mean? And in real life, that sometimes doesn't happen. You have to wait for monies to come in to be able to pay. Okay, so this person, my landlord didn't, this is a little context on this. My landlord didn't understand that, and that's the reason why we would argue. But here's the thing. I always remember saying, this isn't going to be forever. There's going to be a time, specifically there's going to be a time that I'm not going to argue with my landlord. There's going to be a time where I'm not going to have a landlord. That's what I would tell myself. And I know most of you were thinking, well, yeah, when you go buy a house, that's not what I'm saying. Because most of you buy houses through the bank. So the bank's your landlord at that point. I'm saying there's going to be a time where I'm not going to have anybody over me. Anybody. I'm not going to have anybody over my butt with regards to a payment. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I want. And that's something that I'm striving for. That's something that I'm trusting God with. But I used to have to do that. I still have to do that now. But there's going to be a time that I'm going to walk into that supposed to. But I can't walk into the supposed to unless I deal and I refine with the used to process. This used to do this. I used to be that. I used to do this. That all is imperative to your restructuring and your actual elevation in life to get to the supposed to outcome. That has to be preempted by the whole entire used to process. If you ever think back to your life, man, there's times that God's brought you through that you never thought you would be able to get out of. But he brought you out. It's all a part of your purpose. It's all a part of your process. God has to do this in your life. He has to make you twitch and struggle and feel like you're nothing, to break you. Not because he wants to break you, but because he loves you and he wants you to see that you have more in you, more fight in you. But if you're never tested, if you're never in a position where you're feeling like, I gotta get to this level instead of this, if you're never tried, then you'll never know. And if you never know, you never live. And if you never failed, you're never going to succeed. And that's all a part of the process. You have to go through the used to. I used to be this. I used to do that. In order to get to this is my supposed to outcome. In order to get here, I used to do this because I'm supposed to be this. And that's it. That's life. That's your life, man. That's your purpose. That's your calling. I used to have to argue with my landlord. So simple, but so monumental when it comes to your life, because that hits me in my life. I'm not saying that's the only thing that I've had to deal with, or that's the only thing you've had to deal with. Some of you listening to this, you own your house. You haven't had to deal with that at all. But I guarantee you, if you look back in your life, even last week, there's probably something that's, maybe you're even currently, there's something tugging at you right now that's trying to pull you back. And that's trying to make you feel like you're defeated. It's trying to make you feel like you're less than, you have no identity, like you're just frustrated. You feel like you're not aligning correctly. And I'm telling you, that is on purpose. You have to go through your used to. But this is all going to be a used to in the future. You're going to look back on that and understand why you had to go through that. I'm going to look back on Linda, my old landlord, and say, I used to have to argue with you, but not anymore. I used to have to rent, but not anymore. I used to have to finance, but not anymore. Not anymore. Because of one thing, because of God's promises on my life, because of what he fills in my mental space and in my heart and in my gut of what's to come. That's what I'm looking on to. That's all I got. That's the only hope that I have. It's not in man. It's not in anything else. It's in that. I keep holding on to that because that's my lifeline. So I understand that the used to's, they're here right now. But I'm almost saying them in future tense. I used to, even though I'm still currently going through it. But I'm choosing to speak about it in future tense because I know that my future isn't where I'm at now. So I'm talking above even what's currently happening in my present, because I have promises that my God gives me, and I have things that I see not only in my heart but in my head, and I see these things. I see the illustrations that he's trying to promote and give me, and I know it's not coincidence. I know it's not because he's bored. I know it's not because I'm a dream weaver. He's given me these illustrations because they're coming attractions in my life. They're happening. They're being orchestrated right now, and they're being orchestrated in you. But the difference between you and someone who's depressed, or a successful person and a depressed person, is a depressed person doesn't see a way out. They don't see any hope. They don't have any hope. They don't see any coming attractions. And even if they do, they suppress them because that's not real life. Just because nobody in your family has ever made what you're going to make out of yourself with themselves, doesn't mean it's unattainable. Just because nobody in your family has ever cleared $100,000 a month, or $1 million a year, or $3 million a year, or $20 million a year, just because that hasn't happened for them, doesn't mean that is what you have to live up to or below. That's not the case. if God put the dream in you and he gave you the talent and ability that is actually capable of manifesting such wealth, not wealth being the only constituent that you're after, because that's not what you're after. You're after your purpose, guy. You're after your purpose. The only thing you should care about is your purpose. And your purpose is what makes your mark. And your mark is what's going to leave everybody in a state of betterness because of you coming in their life. Does that make sense? It's not wealth. Wealth isn't the target here. The target is your purpose. The target always has been your purpose. But the people that are nihilistic or that don't have a optimal thought process, and they don't have any faith and hope in any other construct other than themselves, then yes, their target is wealth, because that's the only thing that they can understand, because they're one-dimensional. God is three-dimensional. He's not one. So stop limiting yourself to being one-dimensional. He works in multiple avenues, and he works in multiple cases that you don't have any understanding over. You can't fathom his ways, and you can't fathom what he's giving you until you appoint yourself and align yourself with him and what he's done with you, and you actually extract what he's giving you. But that takes courage, that takes bravery, and that takes commitment. And that's the problem with people. We're not committed. We're not courageous. We don't want to go in and all. We don't want to go all in on ourselves. We only think that we only see the pinnacle of our success as to what anybody else in our family has done or below. And I'm telling you, you are different. But it starts with you believing that shit first. You have to believe that, and you have to have hope, and you have to believe in the promises that God's spoken over you and he's given to you. And I'm not talking about promises in the Bible. Yeah, that's where the constructs come from, but he's given each and every one of us definitive, detailed promises. And you know what they are, but you suppress them because, well, Karen hasn't done them, Mike hasn't done them, my dad hasn't done them, my mom hasn't achieved that. Doesn't matter. You can be the chain breaker in your family. You can break all of those chains, and you can actually precede what people have done in your family. If the dream is over you, if the anointing is on your life, I suggest that you answer the call. Because if you don't and you let it go to voicemail, I promise you, you'll be in regret your entire life. The process for you to fail, so you can become resilient, so you can actually manifest your best version. But that doesn't come without you falling and scraping your knees a few 100,000 times. That's going to happen. That's why it takes courage, and it takes bravery, and it takes commitment. Without those three constructs, you'll never achieve your ultimate position in life. You'll never be what you're supposed to be in life. Supposed to be. Because that's the hard truth. You're supposed to be something, but you're not allowing it to come to fruition because of maybe what's happening in your life right now and what you feel like you're in. You feel like you're in the used to process, and that's going to stay. You're going to stay there. You're going to stay in the used to process. I used to be this. I used to be that. I still am, but I haven't really changed. And right now, that used to process. You can make that past tense, but it calls you to see the future self. And if you don't see the future self where you're supposed to be, you're right. You're going to live constantly in that present trajectory, constantly. And you're going to be constantly living in even past trajectories. God doesn't call us for that. You're supposed to go through seasons of your life. You're supposed to. You're supposed to fall. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to suck at things so you can figure out what you're great at and omit everything you suck at, because everything you suck at isn't your calling in life. You got that? Everything you suck at, you're supposed to suck at, because everything you're great at is very, very, very finite, small, but you're supposed to do that instead. But that's going to take bravery. That's going to take courage. That's going to take courage, and that's going to take commitment. And most of you may have bravery, you may have courage, but you don't have commitment. Some of you have commitment, but you don't have any bravery or courage, and because of that, you're a coward. And because of that, you'll never see your best fruition. You'll never see your best self. You're supposed to be up here. You're supposed to be. It's not like a select few get there because a select few are called. You're all called. God's got a position of honor for everybody. You're supposed to be here, man. You're not supposed to live in your shit. You're not supposed to live in your used to. But you can stay there inevitably if you feel like there's nothing left for your life. If you feel like there is no hope. I don't have anything of value to offer. If that were the case, you'd be dead. If that were the case, God would take you already. You're still here. You're still waking up. So there's a purpose on your reason. There's a purpose on your life. Man. You're drowning, but you're drowning because you're allowing yourself to drown. All you gotta do is understand the surface is right there. Just keep paddling your arms and you get to the surface. But if you think that surface is never ending and it's just too far above and you're gonna run out of air before you even get there, so why try? Then you're right. Let yourself drown. Let yourself drown. That surface is closer than you think. So keep flapping your arms. Get yourself to the surface of the water, man. Because you're right there. The devil's going to lie to you and he's going to tell you you're too far down in the water. You can't swing yourself up before you're out of oxygen. That's a lie. He's lying to you. The surface is nothing. It's right there. It's like 5 feet away. But you're allowing the lies to sink you. You're allowing the lies to be the label over your life. And that's why you'll never get to your destiny if you allow the lies. If you allow the lies to weigh you down like an anchor, they'll pull you down to the bottom of the ocean floor. In all reality, you were 5 feet from the surface. All it was going to take was you to just flap your arms a few more times and you would be at the surface. You would get all the air you needed. You think you're drowning? That's a lie. Stop drowning and become what you were supposed to become. Done.